3 in the morning. The room is dark. The house has gone quiet. The kind of quiet where you can hear your own heartbeat if you listen for it. You weren't thinking about anything in particular. You were just lying there, waiting for sleep to arrive. And then, out of nowhere, it arrives instead, something you said 5 years ago. A joke that didn't land. A sentence you replay, word for word, complete with the silence that followed it, complete with the exact face the other person made. You didn't summon it. You would never choose to relive it. Your whole body tenses for a memory that can't hurt you anymore, that has no power left at all, except the power you're handing it right now, at 3 in the morning, for the 400th time. And yet here it is, at full volume, while the rest of your life is asleep. Here's the part that should actually bother you. It's not random. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's running a very specific, very old piece of software, and once you see what it's doing, you'll understand exactly why it only shows up when everything else goes quiet. In the 1770s, a French philosopher named Denis Diderot described this exact experience, in his own words, more than 2 centuries before anyone could explain what was actually happening in his head. He was by most accounts a quick, confident talker, the kind of man who edited an entire encyclopedia and rarely seemed short of an opinion. He apparently hated the one famous portrait ever painted of him, complaining that the artist had made him look like an old man still trying too hard to be liked, which makes what happened at one particular dinner all the more striking. At a dinner at the home of a statesman named Jacques Necker, someone made a remark to Diderot that left him completely speechless. He had nothing. No comeback, no clever line, nothing. Just silence, and the sinking feeling of having lost the room, in front of exactly the kind of people whose opinion he cared about most. Diderot later wrote that a man like him, completely absorbed in what had just been said against him, loses his head entirely, and doesn't find it again until he reaches the bottom of the stairs, on his way out of the house. By the time he'd left the party, descended the staircase, and stepped outside, into the cold night air, the perfect response finally arrived, fully formed, devastating, exactly right. Too late to matter to anyone except him. Decades later, people started calling this a l'esprit de l'escalier, staircase wit. Diderot never used that exact phrase himself. He didn't need to. He'd already described the feeling so precisely that language eventually caught up and built a name around it. Here's where it gets interesting. Diderot thought he was describing a personal failing, a moment of social clumsiness. He wasn't. He was describing a mechanism that exists in every human brain, and about 150 years later, a psychologist would finally explain why. In the 1920s, Bluma Zygarnik, working in Berlin, noticed something odd about restaurant waiters, specifically, one particular waiter who could recite, from memory, every detail of an enormous, complicated order that hadn't been paid yet. Table number, dishes, modifications, every substitution, all of it, instantly, without checking a single note. Minutes later, after the bill had been settled, Zygarnik asked him to repeat the same order back. He couldn't. It was gone, completely, as if it had never been there at all. Completed, forgotten. Zygarnik took this back to the laboratory and ran a series of experiments, giving people simple tasks, and interrupting roughly half of them before completion, letting the other half finish normally. The result held up again and again. Interrupted, unfinished tasks are remembered far better and far longer than completed ones. Your brain treats an open loop as unfinished business and keeps it active, resurfacing it until something resolves it. An embarrassing memory is exactly that, an open loop. You never got to fix the impression. You never got to explain yourself, or land the joke, or take it back. The moment closed on everyone else and stayed open on you. So why does it wait until 3 in the morning to bring this up? During the day, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for focus, planning, and keeping your attention pointed outward, is almost never idle. Meetings, decisions, conversations, 100 small tasks demanding its attention, which leaves very little bandwidth left over to go digging through old, unresolved material. Every open loop you're carrying simply has to wait its turn behind whatever's happening right now. At night, with the day's tasks finally cleared away and nothing left to manage, a different network takes over, the default mode network, the part of your brain that activates specifically when you're not focused on anything external. It's the same network responsible for daydreaming, for self-reflection, for the quiet, wandering thoughts you have in the shower, or on a long, empty drive. Normally, it's a genuinely useful system. The part of you that makes sense of your own life, connects the dots, reflects. But at 3 in the morning, with your prefrontal cortex finally off duty, and no new information competing for space, it has nothing left to sort through except whatever's still sitting there, unresolved. Which is precisely when Zygarnik's open loops finally get their turn at the microphone, with absolutely nothing left to compete for your attention. Nothing new is happening to you at 3 a.m. The editor has simply gone home for the night, and the interrupted files on the desk finally get read, in the one stretch of the day when nobody's there to stop them. So the next time that exact sentence arrives, uninvited, at full volume, in the dark, you're not broken. You're not uniquely bad at letting things go. You're running the same unresolved loop that a French philosopher described by candlelight, in the 1770s. After a single unanswerable remark at a dinner party, more than 2 centuries before anyone could show him exactly why his own brain wouldn't let it go until he'd already left the building. Diderot got his perfect comeback eventually, alone, on a dark street, with absolutely no one left to hear it. You're getting yours right now, lying in the dark, with the exact same audience. Some loops never fully close, most people's don't. The apology you never got to finish, the version of you that froze when you'd rehearsed a braver one. But the ones that visit you at 3 a.m. aren't a verdict on who you are, and they're not proof that something is wrong with you. They're just unfinished business, filed correctly, waiting patiently for the one moment each day when nothing else is loud enough to compete with them. Somewhere tonight, someone else is staring at the same dark ceiling, replaying a sentence from a decade ago, certain they're the only one still carrying it. They're not. They're just running the same old software everyone else is running too, usually in complete silence, at exactly the same hour.